This is the Blue Ribbon Committee, and our meeting is open. Everyone is present except for Kevin Jordan, who is excused. He is up in Michigan, where his son is graduating from the Navy boot camp.
Oh, cool, awesome.
Yes, very proud moment for them.
Great news.
So with that, we have approval of the minutes.
The minutes have a lot of typos in them that need to be corrected before we approve them, I think, in my opinion. And the one we approved last time, at the top it says agenda and it should say minutes. Didn't fix that last time.
Should we therefore send our remarks to Melanie? Would that be the most efficient way?
Yes, please.
I'll let you make copies of my notes, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
And then you can go from there.
Sure.
And call me if you have questions on what clarify.
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay, moving on, we have John, anything new with the school?
Well, I'll give you a report. Committee members, Dan Dodge, Nancy Taylor, and I attended the last city commission meeting. Dan and I made a report to them regarding our last meeting. We asked them to proceed with haste in getting a memorandum of understanding in place and then pursuing the grants provided by the REG architectural firm as soon as possible. The discussions were amiable with the commission members. All members seemed to be interested in getting something to happen. There was considerable discussion regarding pursuing grants even without a memorandum of understanding. They seem to understand the importance of an agreement with the school district, but did not definitive say when that would happen. I told them several times the agreement could include accepting the property at the city commission's discretion. We thank them for their continued support of the Blue Ribbon Committee and told them that we were here to help them, but only at their direction. They settled on calling the REG architectural firm, asking them which grants they should pursue immediately. And Dan, if you see it any differently, maybe you should add something to that, and Nancy as well.
Well, that's
A fine summary, John, thank you.
Okay, that's my report.
BJ, anything new with the title?
No.
No. Should we strike that from the
Yeah.
agenda going forward?
That's pretty much been settled.
And now we have the REG report. And Christina, any updates on it? Any remarks?
No, sir. I forwarded you the email that I received from the REG firm, and it's pretty self-explanatory.
Have they given you any idea when they'll be finished?
I have to look at the timeline.
It's the end of May.
There's been a lot of, I believe it was the end of May, yes.
Okay, all right. You might ask them if you speak with them.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I have a point of clarification, if you don't mind.
No, of course not. No.
Great.
We're delighted to have an audience in person.
So, well, Lisa, 108 South Main Street, and as you all know, I'm one of the city commissioners, and I was at the last meeting where John made his excellent report. And thank you all for your work. Just a point of clarification, I think, John mentioned the motion that was made about pursuing grants. I believe I'm the one that made that motion. And I believe that my specific motion, and we can check the minutes on this, and our interim city manager may have something to add, because I think she already took some action relating to that motion. I think my specific motion was about trying to pursue the Division of Historical Resources Special Categories grant that is due quite soon, June 1st. And I believe that I said we should direct our interim manager to please inquire of REG if they could define for us what specific item in all of these, items that are needed to restore the school should we ask for, and also could they assist us in writing the grant? I think that's what I said. And Christina Marie can elaborate on that, and I think there's an email, I think you did make a contact with REG. So anyway, there was quite a bit of discussion, and it's quite complex, and we had a very long list of grants, but I think I focused in on that one. And so I think that's important.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'd also like to point out that that motion was approved by all commissioners. Christina, can you update us?
Yes. REG does not do grant writing. They referred us to a grant writer that specializes in the historic preservation grants. And as you read in their email, they suggested perhaps a staff member filling out the grant application and at least getting it submitted in time. And then we would be able to edit it afterwards. So that's what the information that I received from him, and forwarded that to you all for direction.
So will we be doing that, taking that action?
If that's the desire of the committee and the commission, I'm not a grant writer, but I certainly will put my best foot forward if that's the desire of the commission to apply for that, or make contact with the recommended grant writer. And I'm not sure how you all want me to proceed.
Does the commission have to meet again to approve that?
I
I wouldn't think so.
No. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure, I'm just waiting for direction from the committee. I don't know, BJ, can you try to?
I think as long as, I think you can go ahead and contact her. I think one of the things the commission was talking about or asking about, inquiring, was about cost. And if it was going to be, how much it would cost to get that grant written. And I was trying to find the email, sorry, I was distracted there for a second, to finding the forwarded email. Because it did just make it sound like we could do part of it and get the information in by June 1st and then kind of fluff it up later or fix it, and add to it. But you have to have something in by the deadline, and if that's what we want to do, then we need to, be quick with it. But it sounds like we can get that done and maybe contact her, the person they suggested, and at least see what it cost.
Okay.
Because I think that's a big decision, and a big decision point, because, the city commission, I don't think is interested in laying out $20,000 or something right now. I don't know how much it would cost. And Charles did our small, the small matching grant, the small matching grant. And I helped them with that, a few times. And so, that's basically a form that you start filling out. There's parts of it that's narrative, but I would think that the special category grant is similar in the way you submit it. So I don't know how much more there is to it. I guess we can contact her and look into it.
Okay.
Because I think I think cost is the big thing.
Okay.
I agree. I think it would be very helpful if you could reach out to this third party and inquire,
Okay.
especially costs and time wise. Also, if, I would recommend you pull up the grant application, see, if it's fairly easy or if you may need assistance.
Okay.
So if it's like the small matching grant, I know you can save the application, so you can go and start and do parts of it, so you should be able to see what we need to know, because I know Charles was going back and forth with it. It's the same computer system, so I would assume that it's a similar.
Okay, I'll make contact with the recommended grant writer, and then I'll report back via email to the committee, this afternoon. Or as soon as I, get an answer from her.
I would also encourage, that the commission be updated, and you seek direction.
Okay.
All right. Do others have comment?
The other, John was talking about getting a memorandum of understanding. I don't think that's anything that advanced is necessary. According to the guidelines that I was looking at for the grant, it says you must have the concurrence of the property owner, which basically I believe is a letter saying it's okay to apply for this grant on our behalf, or, even though we own the property, we can still apply for it with, and we need that from the school district, which I don't think that's something that the school board needs to approve. I think we need to just get it from the district. But we need to have that as part of the grant, because obviously we don't own the property yet. And if we do apply for it, this money, would not be available until July 1st, 2026. If in the meantime, something else happens or we don't end up owning it, whoever does own it, the money will still go to the building and to get it renovated. So if it's something that we end up with the county owning it, or the school district still owns it, or we own it with the school district or something like that, that shouldn't be an impedance. But we just need to make sure that we get a letter saying that it's okay to apply for it from the school district as part of our grant package.
Well, I agree with that, but I wouldn't hold up the application if we don't receive it in time.
Yeah, I mean, I think, that's like a requirement. I mean, because we don't own the property. So,
Well, I understand that, but it isn't listed in the first application. I wouldn't hold back, I would still file it. And then,
and we can, maybe.
obviously, they would request it. And it may give us more time. Also, Christina, I understand that the city was going to retain Charlie Douglas to represent the city with the school board. Can you
Yes.
update us on that progress?
Yes, I mean, we're in contract with the Douglas firm, and I believe we just need to give them instruction of when we were, ready for them to take any action. We received, when Michael Brillhart was still here, we received a revised contract, and that was, approved by the commission, and the Douglas firm, as far as I know, is just on standby.
So the Douglas firm is waiting for the commission to give direction.
Yes,
Because obviously it's not this committee's position
correct. Yeah.
without direction from the commission. Thank you very much. PJ, if Christina has any questions on filling out the application, would you be available for assistance?
Of course. Anything.
Thank you. And we've received most recently an update from REG. Are there any comments at this time on the?
The latest thing that came in, which is the vision, which is very comprehensive and well done. It's just a one-page summary, but those of them who haven't seen it, I have a copy. Very well done. It's a draft, but
My comment on that actually was, they seem to see it as the best use for it to be another, basically kind of a school. I mean, sort of, they want to kind of keep some of it as classrooms and that kind of thing, and I'm just not sure if that meshes with what the city really needs and wants. I mean, because nowhere does it say anything about City Hall, which has been already established as kind of a goal in the strategic plan and in our visioning plan that, City Hall would be relocated there. And they didn't mention anything about that on that,
That's true.
I just,
Would you like to communicate that with them?
I mean, I can,
That would be wonderful.
it's a draft.
Exactly.
Mhm. Because, and also, of course, there's the, it seems like that's what they see, that's what they see as the highest and best use of the area of the buildings. But that doesn't really mesh with what the community feels. Because obviously there's the historical society that wants to relocate back there. And that has nothing, there's nothing on there about that. And then the city hall, and county offices, which I think is, so I mean, I can reach out to them and see if we can, because I think it's still drafting just about that.
Commissioner Lloyd, that would be excellent if you could update them with the city's thoughts. I'm making an assumption that they have made these comments because obviously it would be the easiest to retain what it was in the past. But you're so correct, it doesn't,
Right, it doesn't fit with what we need, really.
no, maybe a portion of it.
Right,
but
right.
Not
Yeah,
a.
this printout does not include those buildings.
But it doesn't, and that's the other thing, it does not include, we didn't do the entire property. We just did the five main, central buildings. But, I mean, I would envision at some point, City Hall being in building one, eventually. Now, that's what I think would be, I mean, it's the most, I guess, the most City Hall-like building, with the columns up front, it just seems like that's where you would go if you want to go to City Hall.
It's the most formal,
Yeah, it's and most auspicious, so.
yes.
So I can contact them and share that with them. Because, I mean, I like the ideas, and the Performing Arts Center, the auditorium, and the gym, I mean, they had good feedback on and good ideas, as well as the kitchen, or the cafeteria. But the other two buildings, I think we might have to, I'll share my feelings on those. Because I think that's kind of all of our, the community's indications as well.
It is, yes, so it'd be excellent if you could refresh to
Okay,
update them.
I will, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Good morning, Danny Miller. If I can just add to that comment, I've not reviewed the REG draft report, but to add to the comments, their suggestion that has the best use as a school, that is true. It is also perhaps the most impractical suggestion, unless it's some sort of continuing education or something like that. For the simple reason that the last thing the school district wants is a charter school on there because of funding issues. So I'd suggest that just wouldn't fly.
Right, and really, what the REG report suggests is that the last updated page that we just got was to kind of retain the classroom layout of the main building and use it for continuing education and other like technology stuff. And I mean, it was interesting, but I just think that it's not really what we need or what we've been envisioning. Because I have it in front of me. And it said, building one, an innovation and learning center, adult and vocational education classrooms, co-working and small business incubator, makerspace and fabrication lab, and lecture event space for workforce and community programming, which those are all great things, but I really think that building one should be envisioned as a municipal government center. I think that's what should be there. And then building 5, which is the media center, is a technology and digital library center, which has some great ideas, but I really think that should be, repurposed as the Fruitland Peninsula Historical Society archive or such facility.
And then the labeling implies that. It's more of a general labeling. Mr. Lori, Mr. Miller made an important statement reminding us what the school district may not wish there, which is another school, charter school. So you might let the RG know that as well. Anything else on this subject?
It was interesting that the engineering report that they did was quite extensive. I mean, they've been around and, looked at the age, the date on every air handler, every compressor unit outside, all, I mean, that goes on and on and on. It's a little daunting, but, it seems like, I haven't read every word of it, but of the 178 pages. But it is interesting. I mean, they went and they looked at the beams and the gym and where the corrosion is, and I mean, every single little part. And the one thing that is apparent is most of those systems, the electrical and fire systems and stuff, are going to have to be just replaced and torn out, because everything is set up as a central facility, with everything connected to like the main office. And so like all that's going to have to be redone. But it was interesting to see which air handlers, were, apparently the school district liked to abandon things in place. So there's like 3 compressor units outside the media center that were from the old system and just left there. They just put in 2 new ones and left the 3 old ones out there because they couldn't find anything that they connected to. And then there's a few that they said that was behind the auditorium, I think, that were abandoned in place because they couldn't find anything that it was connected to. But I don't have, they spent a lot of time and went through a lot of detail, and like the pump that pumps the cold water through the chiller, like the old one that's still there that they replaced. So they just left the one there and just put a new one in, which is, it's interesting to me that seemed to be a common occurrence there. I don't know. There's a lot of equipment in that building.
It's a very unusual practice.
Yeah. And I mean, that's one of the things that's suggested, of course, is on all the mechanical, to get rid of all that stuff that doesn't need to be there.
Particularly in that scale.
Yeah.
So interesting. Well, the good thing about it is that, as you state, it is thorough. And of course, when the time comes that partners are sought out, and if there's interest, partners have interest in spaces, it gives them a good idea of what their obligation would be to build it out to their specs.
Yeah, I mean, it goes building by building, tells you exactly what needs to be done. And when, air handlers and fire alarm systems and a lot of, I mean, it's gonna take a lot to bring some of that up to code.
And of course, I'd like to point out that we've always stated that it would be not the city's responsibility or to update it all, but the majority would be partners.
And it's a phased thing. It's not all gonna happen on day one. It's gonna
Correct.
take, I mean, I can imagine a 5 to 10 year plan to get all of this, rehabbed and at least, depending on all the different partners. So we might not all be here when it's all ready to go, but it'll be there.
Oh, we will.
Pieces of it will.
We will. Won't take that long. Anything else? Any further comments from our fine audience? Okay, moving on. That brings us right into the update from the historical survey. Christina, have you an update?
Yes, sir. Mr. Weaver's firm, Mr. Weaver asked for an extension. We've applied for that with the state, and the state has approved. We have to the end of July to complete the survey, so we're still in compliance with our grant. And Mr. Weaver and Jenny are working diligently to complete it timely. So everything's underway, and that's where we are.
Has he given you an update on what percentage completion he had?
No.
And, am I correct that he toured the, middle school?
Yes, I brought him to there 2 weeks ago.
And can you share, his impressions with us?
Oh, he took a lot of pictures and he's gathering the documentation, for those buildings to be added that are not part of the, historical, are not part of the, historic district. And he found it very interesting. He saw a lot of potential there. That's what he do. But, he and Sheree went up in the attic and everything. They had a good time. I was just sitting there talking to the school board guy or the school district guy in the hallway there. We do, I wish we could get them to turn the air conditioners on in that building. But, if the children are not working, building 1 just has no air on. And now the sheriff's department's out of that front office, and so there's no air conditioning running in there either. And so building 1, the other buildings, I did notice the air conditioners on, and then, so it's being,
And of course, the air circulation is the number one.
Once it starts raining, the no AC will be.
And the school district is also using the media center and the cafeteria as storage for items that they've purchased for the new schools. So there's a lot of materials in there.
Are they still using other parts of it?
Yes. In fact, the media center is stacked up with stuff. It was empty when, we left, and they've got all kinds of materials in there, like exit signs and all this stuff, because they're purchasing stuff so that they don't have to go through a contractor.
And what's, besides storage, what other usage are they having there?
There's the police athletic league is still in the gym. They're using that building, the gymnasium, but everything else, I'm not sure if, the adult education people were back in there or not. But most of the rest of the building, just looks just like it was left. And all of building 1 is empty, because the sheriff's department's out of there, so there's nobody in there at all.
No sign of vandalism?
No, everything looks good.
Good.
The sheriff's department is supposed to be going through there once a day or once a shift. So, and I think they've been doing that. So, and there is someone there during the guy that was there taking down the tour. He's a part of the grounds crew, and he comes and mows. And that's why they leave a truck out there, all the time. It's out parked out there. So to me, it always looks like there's someone there, and there's usually someone there during the day, during the week. So there is someone that's on the property, most days.
How many hours is a shift for the sheriff's department? 8 or 12?
I think it's 10. I don't know how they
Is
do
it
this.
10?
Yeah, I don't know how they do the scheduling, but it's something like that. In order, you have to ask, I'm not sure what their schedule, how they work theirs. But I do know they usually work more than 8 hours, I think. They might work 12. Yeah. But Captain Esri is aware that he needs to keep an eye on the building. Before I even mentioned anything to him, he's like, no, we know. We've been going through there every day and just checking things. And especially now that the school district has stuff stored in there, they actually changed the locks, I guess, on the cafeteria and put in an alarm system. So, so someone's keeping an eye on all that. And, the school looks like it, everything was locked up, all the doors and gates were locked when we were there, so everything seems to be staying secure.
Well, thank you. Moving on, next is agenda. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Yes, Mr. Carver.
If I may comment on building 1, if not by city ordinance, certainly on principle, the school district has some responsibility to prevent the decay of that building, and as we all know, once mold takes hold, it's a problem. Perhaps school district might be encouraged to, at a minimum, install several heavy-duty dehumidifiers in the building, to try to keep the humidity down so the mold doesn't take hold. They probably won't like the request because it costs money, but there is some responsibility to maintain.
And I mean, that would be cheaper than fixing the chiller and the air conditioner, so, but at least it would prevent the mold from, it didn't feel muggy when we were in there, so I don't know if they, but yeah, we should probably check on that. I mean, it would be,
Well, and of course, it hasn't rained until recently.
yeah, that's probably right, yeah.
Yeah,
I think a lot.
Once it starts raining.
In summer, yeah, it's just muggy.
well, that's an excellent idea. How should we proceed to get that request?
I don't know, maybe either Christina maybe, or if John wants to reach out to Bowling and Stern City
I can do that.
and see if they at least would be,
That's what you want me to do, I'll be happy to do it.
I mean, I think that would be appropriate and necessary, really.
Thank you, John.
Okay,
We always give him the good jobs.
And again, next is the agenda. Anything that we need to add to our next meeting?
I think according to the email, that we're supposed to be getting the final report from REG on the 22nd. And so I think we might need to see if they're gonna be able to come and present to us, or, obviously we can read it all ourselves, but it would be nice if we had and I'm sure they're supposed to do it for the city commission, so I don't know if they'll be doing it, yeah. So we might wanna check with them and see.
So just one presentation to the commission, no.
Yeah, I mean,
Have to come to us.
yeah, because I think the contract was just for one, I think is what it was.
Yeah, the final presentation.
Yeah.
Okay,
So, we might, yeah.
so I'll get with REG and confirm, perhaps they can do a presentation at the city's June commission meeting with our final findings.
Did we get to hear from them prior to that?
I will let you know, keep you updated as soon as I hear from them, and copy the committee on any correspondence to keep you all up to date.
Thank you, Christina.
You're welcome.
Yeah, because just like my comments about, City Hall, they might want to, I don't know if they can, if like Brian comes up here and talks to us and maybe gives us I don't know, if he'd be willing to do that, I think it would be helpful.
Preliminary?
Yeah,
To do what?
to do like a preliminary presentation to us and then get some feedback, before he does the final to the city commission. Because I mean, they came here several times, they did their work and scanned and did all the background and stuff, but they really did not get, I don't think they got enough input from the community, and we're representing the community here as far as this project goes, and I think that it would be beneficial and behoove them and us to kind of see a preliminary and give some feedback before they go before the city commission. I think it's just like that, my comments on that one sheet, like that's something that we need to fix before it goes before the city commission. I think it would be, and I think if Brian Moore, the guy that's handling it, if he's willing to do that, or maybe Zoom, I don't know, he can do Zoom, yeah.
Maybe he
can
can
do Zoom.
that Zoom.
Yeah, because we can do that, and put it on the projector and so then that way he can kind of run through it with us and we can give any sort of feedback if you think that would be helpful. I think it would be helpful.
I think it would be very helpful, and I think Zoom is a good way of doing it. It avoids a 8 to 9 hour trip from West Palm Beach.
I don't know, I'd take any excuse to get from West Palm Beach here.
Well, having
Just
just
traffic
been
is,
in Delray recently, just getting out is a chore.
Yeah.
with the Traffic
Yeah.
and congestion. So should we proceed with that request?
I'll see, sure, if Christine will contact them and see if he's willing to do that, I'm sure,
Okay.
I don't think that would be a problem.
And then
Does
we'll-
everyone agree
Yeah, nobody went
to
in.
proceed with a Zoom meeting?
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Okay.
So that brings us to our next meeting date.
Would you mind leave that open and see when Brian's
Available?
available, yeah?
Okay.
So their deadline is the 22nd of May to have the report, and
Which is next week, yeah. Yeah, that's next Thursday. Yeah. Rachel's already. I'm doing that week.
and the 27th would be our normal meeting time.
And I'm not gonna be available from the 22nd to 27th. Rachel's gonna be out of town, so I'm basically confined to quarters.
So beginning the 28th.
Yeah.
You would be free.
Yeah, I'll be
Okay, any new business?
Set a date.
Did we just decide on the date?
I think, we need to see what Brian can,
But seek out Brian's availability first,
Yes, sir.
and we shared our availabilities beginning on the 28th, which is a Wednesday, of course.
unless unless we can get it before then, but we'll just have to see what Brian, I mean, if we have to, we can just maybe do it next week, if everyone's available. But I mean, on Monday, we have a city commission workshop. But if he can do it next Wednesday, we can squeeze it in, do you think? Yeah. So if you guys, if it works with your schedules, maybe leave next Wednesday open, and let's see if we can get Brian to do it next Wednesday, because that way he can run through it with us and then be able to get it, the final done.
Is that good for everyone?
And obviously, we have to see what his availability is, but
Sure.
just keep that in mind,
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Okay,
So, I mean, because I think that would,
and what about Tuesday, the 20th?
I have a doctor's appointment.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you. Anything else for today?
Did we settle on a date?
We're gonna check with Brian.
Yeah, okay, I got it.
First.
Well, yeah, we'll be in touch. Mel will be in touch,
Yes, sir.
as soon as I figure something out.
Okay. I'll move we adjourn if there's nothing else.
Okay, our meeting is adjourned. Thank you, John. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Melanie.
I'll reach out to that person, email.